What's up, my beautiful ladies? It is your girl, Jalen. Okay, Jalen Brunson, your favorite goddess coach, your favorite alien, back at it again with another video. And today, I wanted to step in with a pink robe because I'm gonna talk about sexuality today, sensuality, and how we can tap into this energy as women, and my own personal journey with Yoni Eggs. Please, everyone, like this video up and subscribe to my channel if you're here for divine feminine content, divine feminine, so diving into the energy of things, all right? I'm very passionate about this topic because I believe in women's liberation, and I believe in women's power and women to really step into their truest essence and power so that they can feel good about themselves, so they can step back into their confidence, so that they can feel like those powerful magnetic women that they were meant to be, that they were all along. But it's the things that we learn in this society and in the Western world that really slow us down and stop us from fully activating that goddess within. And one of those things definitely is sexuality. We were taught a lot of things, and we were taught to have a lot of shame around our sexuality as women. We have things like slut shaming. We have things where, even if you look up the history of this, they used to literally, and still to this day, like cut off women's clitorises because they didn't want women to have access to their pleasure on their own. They used to force women to have chastity belts that only the man that they were married to had the key to. So when the man went off to fight or to do whatever the case was, the woman was wearing the chastity belt, and only when he came back home, and then she can access her pleasure only through him. We have women being shamed around their sexuality, around their periods, around their cycles, everything to do with the womb. So when you study this history, and you can see why there's been a lot of shaming, even in religious texts in the Bible, around our sexuality, you know, you have to think like, what is this? Why is this? Why is there such a huge emphasis on women connecting to their sexuality as evil or as bad? And why were we taught to not do it? And that's when you understand the context of the goddess. When we understand who the goddess was, all right? We live in a very God-oriented society where we see this God figure, whether you're thinking about white Jesus or whoever the case is, from a strongly patriarchal perspective. However, back in the day, there used to be whole matriarchs, all right? It used to be matriarchal societies as well as patriarchal societies. And they used to worship the goddess. And when we understand the divine feminine aspect of creation, because me personally, I believe in the yin-yang, the divine masculine and feminine, just like everything else in nature, there is a masculine and feminine aspect. Everything in nature has a masculine and feminine aspect. So why doesn't the creator of this universe? When we think about, you know, the divine feminine, she really represents creation and self, and really being able to create in this universe. And when we talk about creation, we are strongly talking about sexuality and sexual energy. And this is the exact reason why women have been taught to be disconnected from this part of themselves. This part of themselves that's connected to pleasure. This part of themselves that's really truly connected to sexuality, and that deep understanding that sexuality, not only is it for pleasure and, you know, stuff like that, but it's also for creation, and it's also connected to divinity. Okay, by exercising pleasure in the body, you're exercising your ability to fully tap into your goddess energy and awareness, and really stepping back into that magnetism and that understanding that not only can you create babies, but the energy of that is being able to create the life you want. Also, it's deeper. It's also understanding that you are worthy of pleasure. A lot of women in the society don't know and fully understand that their pleasure is important. What feels good to them is important. You can see this from the lack of women that experience orgasm, including myself back in the day. 70% of women don't experience internalized orgasm because we're not connected to the womb, the most internalized part of ourselves, on that deep level, on that spiritual, energetic level as well. And then you can see this as people feel kind of selfish when they focus on their pleasure and what feels good for them. They feel like they can't focus on what makes them feel good. They feel like, you know, everything is about serving other people. And you see this energy of the woman constantly being a caretaker for other people and giving and giving and giving of her energy, even though giving and doing is a masculine aspect. We got stuck in the hyper masculine, and we forgot how to receive. We forgot how to receive pleasure, and we forgot how to fully live from our pleasure, fully living from what feels good to us, and understanding that it doesn't have to suck all the time, and that we we actually are allowed to have pleasure. We are allowed to feel good because we are good enough, because your body is already perfect as it is, because your face is beautiful. You are beautiful. You accept yourself for as you are. And that's what happens when you awaken the goddess within you and you understand that, yes, a huge part of this is owning your pleasure, getting out of your head and stepping back into your body, slowing down, eating every single bit of your food and tasting how it feels in your mouth, understanding if you have a desire, the desire comes from the higher power, the cosmos, because the root word of desire is of God or of the stars. So if you have a desire, it's divine, and it's about honoring that truth. And you learn this when you study the goddess aspects. And like I said before, me specifically, I used to struggle reaching orgasm. I felt like I wasn't orgasmic. I felt like something was wrong with me. When I had sex or even when I was by myself, I tried to make myself orgasm and nothing would work. And I felt broken from relationship, it didn't matter what the guy did, it just wasn't working. And I always just thought that I just never was going to be able to orgasm, and I'm just one of those people. But then I realized that it's deeper than just trying to do something and forcing and making your body act a certain way, really attacking it from the masculine perspective. It's about the language that we use. Beating up the vagina, like beating up, like sex is an act of beating and hurting instead of actually, being soft and being slow and understanding that you need to build sensation before you go fast. It's understanding sensitivity and oneness and connection, that sex is a sacred union. It's understanding that your body is enough and that your body is just beautiful as it is. There's nothing wrong with your body. Every single inch, your boobs, your breast, your yoni, your vagina, whatever the case is, it's all divine. It's all good. It's all beautiful. When we are so focused in our minds instead of our bodies, and we're going in our heads and we're disconnected from the body, why would we orgasm? And if we're trying to orgasm, instead of letting and allowing and feeling into the body and fully connecting to that part of yourself that will naturally orgasm, it's not about trying, it's about being. It's about being fully in the moment, being fully present and aware. But here in the West, we have been taught and conditioned out of that. We've been teaching sex as if sex is a performance, as if sex is something to be taken away from us. When somebody takes your virginity, instead of sex being looked at as a consensual experience of shared pleasure, we see it as something to be taken from. We see the vagina as something to be beaten, to be hurt. And the language, I know people are gonna say, it's not that deep, whatever the case is, but when you study the psychological impacts porn has had on our relationship with sex and how we were taught about sex, you can see how a lot of men think, and being so rough and stuff like that can actually, they think that's the only way to reach orgasm. So then what do we do as women? We don't speak up about ourselves. We don't speak up. We don't generally say what we need. We don't generally say when something doesn't feel good, because we were taught by the society to appease the male ego and to live through the lens of the male gaze instead of recognizing that our pleasure also is sacred and valuable and so worth it and so important. So this process of exploring your sexuality is such a huge part, and that's why I'm so passionate about it, because the more that we do this as women, the more we step into our sensuality, the more that we really truly activate our connection to our divinity, our magnetism. We activate the sacral chakra, right, that I always talk about, and we step into magnetism and easy attraction. And like I said, I couldn't orgasm. At first, I couldn't orgasm until the bad boys right here. Until I met these bad guys right here, I was not orgasming. This is a Yoni egg. This is the first Yoni egg I ever got. This is a clear quartz Yoni egg. And yes, this is a crystalline egg, a crystal egg that you insert in your Yoni. I know, it sounds crazy. It sounds like, why would you do that? But please, before you judge, honestly, I saw a video of somebody talking about their Yoni egg experience, and I'm not, I'm not one to not try something, even, because I've been struggling with it so long and I just felt broken. I was like, let's try it. If it helped this girl, maybe it can help me. So I tried it. I did my Yoni egg practice, and when I say within the first 2 weeks of me doing my Yoni egg practice, I healed through so much trauma. I let go and release so much judgment over my Yoni, because people don't understand. We literally hold on to so much sexual stuff and trauma and past relationships in the womb. So when your womb is blocked and it's just filled with all this energy and you don't release it, it just builds up. So of course you don't feel anything, because naturally your body doesn't feel safe anymore. Especially if you were ever in a toxic situation, your body, your womb doesn't feel safe. It thinks that pleasure is not safe because maybe your first experience or one of your first experiences with pleasure was rape. Why would your yoni feel safe to be open and to be in that orgasmic state? Because it was taught that sexuality and pleasure was dangerous. So when we use a yoni egg, we're basically creating a mind-body connection with our pelvic floor, our inner yoni, with our mind. And it's really a sacred practice that allows us to create a sacred connection with our womb. Because we do this, we insert the egg and we meditate and we really, do the Kegel exercises where we contract our pelvic floor muscles and we release them. We contract on the inhale and we release them on the exhale. And we do this practice. We leave the yoni egg in for like an hour or so, or whatever the case is, and then we just allow ourselves to release the egg, or you can go in there and grab the egg. Trust me, it's not going to get caught up there. And this really allows you to connect with your pelvic floor and release tension in so many ways that are just gonna like completely transform your relationship with your yoni egg. If you do the practice, if you do yoni yoga, if you just have that conscious awareness and really breathing in pleasure, breathing out pain and trauma, and connecting and telling your mind that space is a sacred space and not a place of pain or a place that's not good enough or a judgment or whatever the case is. You really connect with the internal part of yourself. And when I did that, first time I did that practice, I literally orgasmed like a dozen more times, back to back to back. And that's when I learned that orgasms, they weren't just like pleasure things. They were also about healing, because each and every one of those orgasms was a release of so much energy that I had pent up, so much. So if you want to do a yoni egg practice, please check out my crystal shop. We sell rose quartz yoni eggs on the site and they're going to be on sale. Okay, and literally get you a yoni egg. It saved me, it saved my vagina. I felt so connected, and I'm just sharing my honest experience and other people's honest experiences as well. Check the reviews out that we have on there, literally, y'all. And I'm gonna make more videos about yoni eggs and stuff too. But also another practice that you wanna do is yoni massage, all right? Literally massaging the internal part of your yoni, like taking your fingers or wand and just massaging your yoni on the inside. Most people focus so much on their clit and completely forget about their inside because they don't feel anything, or it feels uncomfortable, or they'll feel numb, or it feels unsafe. But the more that you resensitize and sensitize that space within you, and you show love to that space and you heal that space, you're gonna probably find areas of tension because it is a muscle. You massage out those parts of you, you explore that part of you, and you'll probably cry. You might cry. I know for the first time I cried. I released so much. Like with my yoni egg practice and that hand together, woo! Your girl was crying because I realized that I was holding on to so much trauma. And check out that video I made about that specifically if you want to learn about that. But I realized I was holding on to so much. And as women, we hold on to so much. We were never taught these things, how to release and breathe through sexual trauma, how to really heal from that on a energetic level, on a spiritual level, on a mental level, on a physical level. No one taught us this information. We're not taught any of this in school. We were not taught that sex was a union and sacred. We were not taught that our bodies are sacred as they are, and that we were literally created in the image of the divine, okay, of that divine goddess, and that we are enough just by being alive, and that we're deserving of good stuff just by being alive. We weren't taught this messaging. That's just my little talk I wanted to talk to you guys today. Check out my crystal shop, like I said, if you want to get a yoni egg, and check out my courses as well. We dive deeper into these topics, really deep. Psychic sexual seduction, awakening inner goddess. All right, we get into it. So check out the description box for that too. Sign up to get notified when all my courses release for exclusive deals. But I love you guys so much, and I hope that helps somebody out there. Being vulnerable on the internet sometimes can be really scary, but we try anyway, right? Like this video up, please. It helps me so much, and I'll see y'all later. Bye.